sound, but cause no sound. Can you hear us now? Right? Can you hear me now? Is the sound there now? Send 7 in the chat. Send 7 in the chat. Con. Okay. Con. There it is. Yeah. So basically, obviously, you got the school locations, the schedules, as far as the time periods and the days, and then the actual addresses. So you can definitely check that out if you're online. If you want to just one day you get in your heart, you want to actually physically be in person. You know, you can also we're going to show the priest's numbers so where you can get in contact with them for that as well too. So we got that going on, and then we have the Blog Talk Radio. Right? The blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba. So that's, morning time. That's you getting started in the morning. Shoot, that's right. That's like right before you even get in the car. Right before you even get in the car, you start your day off. You're getting ready, you're waking up, right? You're about to hop in the shower, hopping out the shower. The whole time you're listening, and you should be able to digest some information and gain something. So it's to start your day off. So you got that blogtalkradio.com/Mashaba. And then we have the Hidden Truth Bible Show. So, we have the Hidden Truth Bible Show, the 5 Minutes of Wisdom, the Israelite Media Corps. So again, as always, right? Multiple ways to spread the word, right? Multiple ways to spread the word so that everybody can receive the information, right, at their level, right? And so we have to also have the kids class on Sunday morning. Or to be known. Okay, for Houston, the kids class is still Sundays. For VA, we're going to work out the time in the day, right? Okay, con. Yeah, so we're going to work out the time for the VA. But Houston is still kids class live on Sundays. And then we have the Israel, which is back up and running. So if you want to get a custom garment outside of the Passover garment, right, whether it's an armband, a shirt, and a headband, or just a full garment like you've seen in Passover, right, like you see the brothers wear when you see them online, you can do that as well. Or you can sign up with Fringed Up to where you can get the shirt, right, and you can get the headband every month, right? And that's, if you just want the shirt, that's $35 every month. If you want the shirt and the headband, that's $75 every month. So if you want that, so that, that every month something's coming through for you, right? Without having to wonder, think about it. You're building up your Hebrew apparel, right? So because you already have that subscription. And then we also have the Hebrew Academy too. So we have the Hebrew Academy for the brothers in Virginia and Rochester. We do it every Monday. So Virginia and Rochester do it every Monday. That's for somebody that wants to that's saying to themselves, I want to become a priest. I want to learn how to serve my people. I want to learn about sacrifice. I want to learn how to do things the right way, right? In the right spirit, in the right manner. So you got that as well. And then you also have the Houston, which is every Tuesday, right, for their Hebrew Academy. And you can join them via Zoom if you're not local. So you can do that as well. So, and we're going to, of course, give the priest number, which is Priest Ezekiel, which is 757, what she's going to put on the screen, 757-300-4047. And then Priest Quadazat, which is 303-557-8979. And, you can get in contact with them if you need that, counsel. You got a biblical question, right? Just an idea in your mind. You want to share something. You want to throw it at them. See what they think. See what the Bible says, because you may not know what the Bible says about that. So whatever. Or you heard the class and you need a refresh about the information that was brought out in class. So we have the communication, the open line of communication. So you can definitely communicate with Kazak and Kwazak. So, and then we also have the businesses too. So we got the Sweet Ambiance, which is the fragrances and the skincare products, and the Chosen Creations, which involves, metal armbands, right? Leather armbands, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, You can engrave a metal cup. You can engrave a metal bracelet. You can bring whatever form of jewelry and get it engraved as far as it being metal, right? Or the gold, right? You can get those things engraved. So it's different designs. So if you're into that, in wall art, in the wall art as well, you can get the wall art done. So if you're into decorating your home and making things nice, or you a fashionable person and you like to array yourself with accessories, right? You have that as well with Chosen Creations. And you can choose what you want on your piece. So it's your decision. Create. And then we have the donations as well. So obviously, it's been said, right, of recent, we need the assistance. So assist. You see the brothers putting in work. You watch it online, you're in class. If you feel like you're a big fan and this is the environment that you want to be a part of, well, help. If that's what you see it. If you see a place where you can assist, help. Because we're here to help one another. We're here to serve one another. Not just one person serve, but the other person chill, right? Help in some form or fashion, right? So if you can, if it's in your heart, just do it. That's it for the announcements. And so for tonight, we're gonna go straight into the class topic, and we're gonna hold questions in tomorrow. So make sure you write down your questions for tomorrow. So then, if you have questions, of course, preachers out there will be able to answer those questions for you. So we're gonna go straight into the class topic. We was going over this class topic yesterday, actually, which is the title being the proving process, the mind of a king, right? You can just put the mind of a king, put this online, just so you can kind of keep it in mind where the topic's actually going. You know what I mean? The mind of a king. So it's called the proving process, the mind of a king, and we was going over this class just from the perspective of just the thought of like we're kings, right? We're kings. Go to 1 Peter 2:9. Right? So if we're kings, right, and then I know you hear the word king, and we're not forgetting about the sisters, your princesses, your daughters of Zion, so your royalty. So you're God's chosen. Everybody here is God's chosen. So we have to understand that we're royalty. So we come, and I know everybody here knows the truth, everybody online knows the truth, and we're like, yeah, we're nation of king and priest. Yeah, I'm a daughter of Zion. Yeah, I'm a princess. Yay. But you don't really digest the thought of what the responsibility that comes with that. Because in actuality, you're an aspiring king and you're an aspiring princess, right? And when do you ascend to the throne? When your Shaqat comes back. And you haven't gone through that process of proving yourself, right? And what I wanted to show with this class was that, the mindset that a king is supposed to have, right? The mindset a king is supposed to have and not have at the same time. So I wanted to acknowledge this first with the verse, right? Read that.
1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation.
And that's what we are. That's what the Israelites are, right? We're a chosen nation of people, but we're also a chosen generation. We're also a chosen generation that the Most High chose us to do what? Read.
A royal priesthood.
To be royal priesthood. So we're this chosen generation that's been chosen to be a royal priesthood, right? And that priesthood, it comes with responsibilities. And we highlighted it a little bit yesterday, right? We went to the 1 Timothy 3:1 about the bishop having to be blameless, right? Because I know it uses the word bishop, but don't get hung up on the word bishop, because the same thing a bishop's supposed to be doing, a king's supposed to be doing. The same thing a king's supposed to be doing, a steward's supposed to be doing. The same thing a steward's supposed to be doing, a servant's supposed to be doing. Which is what? Being blameless. Being blameless, being charitable, being patient, being long-suffering, not being a brawler, being sober-minded, right? What's the other ones? Vigilant, right? The husband of the first wife, right? The husband of one wife, which we know in Greek is the Mia, which is the first wife, right? So we were going over all these different qualities that a king is supposed to be mindful of, because these are the things that prove to the Most High that He's prepared to ascend to His throne, right? And so we're supposed to be this royal priesthood,
and holy nation.
And the Most High chose us to be this holy nation. this set apart people, different from the rest of the world. Why? Why? Why does the Most High do that? Because he has favorites. He has favorites, and he loved us. He chose us, Israel, to be his chosen. Really, that's it. But we're supposed to prove ourselves, because he don't just want anybody, right, to represent him. So he's selected people even in the nation of Israel to play that role, right? He's given us all the opportunity, right, to live and clean our lives and understand the responsibility that we have to uphold. But we have to actually strive for it. And that's what the proving process, the mind of the king is. A holy nation, a set-apart people. Read.
A peculiar people.
So you're peculiar. You're unique in the way you move, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you conduct, right? And the way you handle your business. Meaning what? You're able to maintain a high level of standard and consistency, a diligence, right? With whatever you do. Whatever you put your hands to do it with that might, right? And that's what the Most High is requiring. So we're this holy nation. Read.
That ye should shew forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness.
And go ahead.
Into his marvelous light.
Yeah, he called us out of the world. And he's the one that gave us the knowledge that we're a king, a princess, right? A prince, a princess, right? He's the one the Most High gave us that knowledge. Otherwise, we didn't know that. Right? We thought we was African, right? Or Asiatic black man. But the Most High gave us that knowledge. But he's requiring something of us. And we have to understand that what? Go to the Psalms 22 and 28. Just to kind of bring everybody that's online up to speed. Right? We're this royal nation, this holy priesthood. So the Most High chose us to be kings on earth. But for us to be a good king, right? A good princess. For a man to be a good king and a good princess, he has to understand what? Read.
Psalm chapter 22, verse 28. For the kingdom is the Lord's.
We got to first understand that, well, the kingdom is the Lord's. We own it. We own it based off the rules and regulations of the Most High. So he's like, I'm going to make you a king. But understand that what? This is my kingdom. Oh, go ahead.
For the kingdom is the Lord.
I want you to understand that I'm in power. I'm in control. And you can't just do things all willy-nilly as you desire. Right? So you can't be out here whoremongering and then calling yourself a king. Right? I don't want that attached to me. Because this is my kingdom. I want my kingdom to be known as a righteous, upright, and just people. Right? I want my nation, the people that I chose to serve me, I want them to be known by good qualities. I want them to have a good name. Right? And we got to understand first that the Most High has the power. He's in control. Read.
And he is the governor among the nations.
Right, and he governs us. Right? So long as we stay on the right path. But that's the point, is that we're going through the proving process. And we have to adopt the mind of a true king. And when you look up that definition of king, do y'all remember the definition?
No.
Who got it?
King. A king originally. A leader of the people.
So that's what a king is. By definition. Take away the title of like, oh, people serve me, people feed me grapes in my bed, they throw rubies and rubies and the best oils in my bath, and I come out smelling like an angel, right? Forget that part. You're a leader of the people, which means what?
You have to show them.
Hold on, you gotta raise your hand. Hold on, go ahead.
Everybody's watching you, so you gotta be the example.
Everybody's watching, so he had to be the example. What you used to say?
Just what he said, I was like, you have to show them, which is by your example.
Right, you got to show them by your example. So you got to live it. So the king was a leader of the people, so it wasn't just like, oh, I'm the man. It was more so, I'm in this position, and everybody's looking at me as the man, right? But then I'm supposed to be trying to teach them about the Most High through my lifestyle. And I'm supposed to be this person that's walking on earth, showing them how to do the things that's pleasing to the Most High. Because we know people like to do what? They like to cleave to what? To the weakness. Easy. But if the king is living right, and he's establishing it and requiring it of the people, according to the rules and regulations of the Father, then what's going to happen to the whole nation? They're going to follow him. and they're going to be able to acknowledge the Father, and they're going to know this. Read it one more time.
For the kingdom is the Lord.
They're going to be able to acknowledge that the kingdom is the Lord's. They're going to be able to, because they're going to be able to see the Most High in their lives. They're going to be able to see every lesson that He's given them, every experience that is for the greater good, that is to build a character within them. So they're not going to hate the process that they have to go through to prove that what? They're a king. Right? Because we're all kings. Right? But we got to start operating like one. We got to start thinking like one. And that's the point of the class. How to operate and think like one. But also see what? That it starts in your house. Because we don't, like I was saying yesterday, we don't have a physical kingdom. Right? Because we're not in our own homeland. We're not in our own homeland. Right? We don't have our own government system. We're not in our homeland. We don't have our own school system. Right? We don't have our own government. We don't have all those things. So, but what do we have? We have this ministry, the body, and we can, in this ministry and body, make sure that we start rehearsing the righteous acts that the Most High wants us to. And it starts off with you just being in your house as a man. You as a woman being in the house with the children. And understanding that, well, I'm supposed to be a leader of my house. Right? Before I can prove myself to be a king and a princess, I got to be a leader in my house in the sense of falling under the position that the Father wants me to be in. But that takes me acknowledging who He is. It takes me acknowledging Him in my everyday life. For me to see the Father. And go to the Daniel 2:21. And I'm just trying to catch everybody up online, just on what was going over. So just trying to do like a little recap. Just trying to give everybody a recap. So the proving process, the mind of a king. Every day the Most High is proving us. Every day He's proving your commitment, your will, your desire to serve Him. And He's trying to see, do you truly mean what you say? Right? I want to be a street sweeper. Right? I want to give my life to the body, to the ministry. I want to sacrifice my life for Christ. I'll do anything for Christ. I'll do anything for the Most High. Will you be a leader of the people? Because the leader of the people, he's not. So really the king is really a servant. Right? But he learns that through him going through the servitude process. And somebody highlighted yesterday about, I think it was you, Shane, about David. He was dealing with the sheep. So he learned how to serve and give himself to his task and his duties diligently, right? Before he even became a king. But he was already serving before he was a king, and that much the more when he ascended to the throne. So he understood the actual responsibility that came with that title. That he was supposed to be a leader of the people and supposed to lead them toward the Most High. And this is what a king is supposed to be thinking about. This is what we were talking about yesterday. Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 2 and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
And he changeth the times.
Oh, read verse 20.
Verse 20.
Context.
Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High forever and ever.
So, this is the Most High Daniel's going into the Most High and how he operates. Read.
For wisdom and might are his.
So, wisdom and might is the Most High. That means it comes from the Father. So, what are we understanding so far? Just to kind of bring everybody online where we were at yesterday. What are we understanding so far from just the few scriptures we bring out? This is like a recap for everybody here.
Everything belongs to the Most High. Whatever you have is his.
Whatever we have is the Most High's. And with that, to add on to what you're saying, is that means we got to be seeking to please him. Or we can't get any of those things. Right? You can't get a peace of mind. You can't get a house that's in order. So you're not going to have your rib in line with you. She's not going to be on the same mind, same judgment when it comes to things that's in the house. She's not going to be, when you say, let's take the household in this direction. Let's deal with the kids like this. Right? Let's discipline this. We got to start disciplining these kids. You want to make sure that you sneaking a little whooping in there. She's like, no, I don't want to whoop the kid. She's not going to be in order with you because why? Oh, you got to stand up. The who?
Because the Most High didn't give for you.
The Most High didn't bless. He ain't blessing that. So the counsel you're trying to give your rib about being in the same line with you, he can't bless that because you're not acknowledging him. Right? So that was actually the first point. Actually, I forgot to mention it, but That was actually the first point. The first point was a king had to acknowledge the father's wisdom. A king had to acknowledge the father's wisdom and be diligent in pursuing it. You see that? So what happened?
I was going to say, that verse in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 21, is exactly what you're saying.
Okay. Oh, let's finish that real quick. And we're gonna go there.
Huh. Verse 21. And he changes the times and the seasons.
So now, remember, we're talking about the father, right? And we're understanding that a king now is supposed to be a leader of the people. But for him to be a true king and for his reign to be good, right? A peaceful one, right? And think about your house. I don't want to miss that part. Think about your house. That's your castle right now. Your house is your castle. And how you operate with your house and how you operate, whether it's man or woman, right? You're a princess. You're aspiring princess. You're aspiring king. How you operate in your house with your husband as a woman, and how you operate as a husband in the house with your family, your wife, your children, that's how you're going to treat the nation. So that's what you should be looking at when you thinking about this entire class. Because we're going to go in, just saying it, right? We're going to go into a righteous king, a wicked king, and what happened in his reign. And we're going to go to a righteous king and what happened in his reign. But the key thing that everybody should be grabbing from that is what actually made it bad and what made it good, right? And the first thing we understand is we have to understand what has to be in the mind of a king first. And that's where we start off with these few verses. So, go ahead.
He removes kings.
The Most High, he changes the times and the season. So the Most High removed kings. And we went over it yesterday. What makes the Most High remove a king? Go ahead, Montezaro. When they're abusing their position. Okay. Say anybody?
When they're not following the way that he requires them.
When they're not following the way he requires them. Go ahead.
Leading the people, because he's going to lead them astray.
And so when he's not doing what the Most High requires him, when it comes to leading the people, the Most High removes him. Right, like a Saul. You remove Saul. And then of course you got all those different kings that was doing negative. The Most High removed them because they didn't what? Acknowledge him. So you gotta ask yourself, okay, I have a house, I have a family, think right? And right now, things may not be flowing the way I wanted to, right? Or like you said yesterday, I might have part-time peace because things may not be flowing exactly the way I wanted to. But why is that? Because somewhere in my mindset, I'm not acknowledging and I'm not giving to the Father. So you have to think about your house as you're hearing about these kings. How the Most High he'll remove us out the way. Right? So be mindful. Or he'll take the spirit from you. Right? If you play around with it. And these kings were playing around with the spirit. So the Most High was removing them because they wasn't chasing after wisdom. They were chasing after their own desires. But what'll make him keep you up? Read.
And set up kings.
And what'll make him set you up? What'll make him set up a king? What about an individual will make him set the Most High set him up? Go ahead, Lana.
Those who put the will of the Most High first and want to lead or rule by applying what the Most High, by applying the laws.
Right. So those that put the Most High first and that lead by keeping his laws in the forefront of their brain. So they made their decisions by the Father. So these men lived honest lives. So these men that he stood up lived honest lives. David lived an honest life. Right? So keep that in mind. And I just wanted to share that though. Go ahead.
He giveth wisdom unto the wise.
But who? That's that person that's living righteous. That's the person that's acknowledging him. But a king, as he's supposed to be in the mindset of the king, right? Which is him being a leader of the people. He got to acknowledge that what? The Most High gives him wisdom. So if I want to know how to make this king, if I want to reign forever, if I want to have those years of peace throughout my reign, and then I pass it on to my son and he had peace, right? And then pass it on to his son and he had peace. If I want that to happen, what must I do? I got to chase after the spirit, not after the flesh. So if I'm saying to myself right now, because we just waking up to the truth, Just waking up to the knowledge. 2, 3 years, 4, 5 years in, right? Well, okay, if I want the Most High to start dealing with me, and for him to give me wisdom, and him to give me clarity of mind, right? Because that's what a king should be seeking for. A clear conscience. So that he can be able to deal just, right, and righteous with the people. So he should be trying to deal with a clear conscience. But then yourself, because we got to put ourselves in it, right? We got to sit down, right, pause, and examine what my character will prohibit the Most High from giving me wisdom. What am I read the right way? So I can deal with a brother the right way, a sister the right way. What do I have to do for me to get the Most High's attention so that he can make me wise? You have to look at those things. What am I doing in my house right now that I know is contrary? Or what am I not doing that I know is that is upright? And I got to look at those compares and contrasts, because that's got to be the mindset. Because we're all supposed to be aspiring leaders of the people. We're supposed to be able to covet a gift from one another, but if we're not looking at our house, we're not looking at ourselves, how can we give something? You see that? So this is supposed to be in the mind of a king, but this is supposed to be in the mind of a godly man too. Read that.
And knowledge to them that know understanding.
Right, but it takes experiences. Experiences gain the understanding. Studying gives you the knowledge. Being in class gives you the knowledge. And that opens your eyes to seeing what you've been missing in your house. And so now, how do I maintain my house? How do I maintain the mental stability of myself? Because that's who's first supposed to be looking at, myself. How can I maintain my mental stability so I can help push this brother or push my son and help him get mentally stable? And push my daughter and help her get mentally stable. Push my rib, help her get mentally stable. Because that's what we're supposed to be looking at. So the king is he's looking in himself so that he can now start helping those around him. So he has a care toward the people, a mind toward the people, right? That's his first mind. So let's go to Psalms 127, verse 1. And then we're going to go to the next point. And then we're going to go to the next point. Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 127, verse 1. Except the Most High build the house.
Right. And that's why it's crucial. And that's why we're talking about all these different things and trying to, take the time to actually understand it, that except the Most High builds my house. So if I'm a married man, right, a married woman, except the Most High build my house, or a single man, right, and your house is you, your mind, right, your temple, your body. So it starts off with you. But even in a marriage situation, it starts off with you. But now you over there, you're already in the situation. You're already in the situation, so now you have to worry about you and all the individuals in the house. So now you have to learn double time. But we have to first understand this, that except the Lord build the house, read.
They labor in vain that build it.
Everybody, we labor in vain. We labor in vain. Because why? We're not acknowledging the Father. Because that's supposed to be the first mind of a king, to acknowledge the Most High in all his ways, right? Because that's where the prosperity comes from, in the spirit and in the carnal, right? Because otherwise, destruction, death, hell comes in. And then what's going to happen? You get disobedient children, right? You get a disobedient wife. You get a disrespectful husband, right? A husband that ain't pushing you and motivating you to what? Do what's pleasing to the Father, right? And then, when you think about the things that we struggle with right now, right? And then you got offspring, you got children. Well, look at the quality that's in you right now and see how it can trickle down to your children. And that's one thing we're about to read about this king right here. What happened to him? What kind of happened to him to where now he slid into his direction? So, but we got to understand that the Most High got to be the one in our minds so that we can actually build and build the right way. Finish it.
Except the Most High keep the city.
Mm-hmm.
The watchman waketh but in vain.
Yeah. Because it's ultimately going to be destroyed because the king is doing things that's destroying the nation. That's destroying himself, right? And it's affecting everybody around him. And then now it's passed on to any and every brother. And that's how we got to look at it. Because now we don't really have a kingdom, right now, right? We know we have the one the house has built up already, right? Well, literally where we are right now, everybody, we scattered. We scattered. We ain't nobody rich, ain't nobody chilling. Your floor ain't laid out with gold, right? So we don't literally have it. And this is not our homeland. This is not our home country. We don't have those things, but we got to look at our house and look at what do I have to implement in my house, right? That's gonna make it fruitful. That's gonna benefit not only me but my children. And this is the mind of somebody that's trying to be a leader, right? That's trying to be a help. Because somebody that's saying they want to lead, they want to help, right? It should be at least. But this is gonna take us to the next point right here. So it says, the next point. It says, look at a king. So it's look at a king who reigned. So it says, look at a king who reigned without the Most High in his heart. Look at a king who reigned without the Most High in his heart. Right? So the first verse is 1 Timothy 3 and 5. Right, so the first verse, you know what, go to Psalm 10 and 4. Psalm chapter 10 and verse 4.
Psalm chapter 10 and verse 4.
So look at a king who reigned without the Most High in his heart. His house is overthrown. And that's the last piece. His house is overthrown. So read that.
The wicked, through the pride of his countenance.
And this is what we're going to find out about this king, that he was wicked. Right? And it's through pride. He allowed his pride to be built up based off the spirits he was dealing with. Right? And we're going to find out where those spirits kind of came from too. Right? Read.
Will not seek after the Most High.
Well, and that's it. He don't seek after the Most High. So we're gonna find out what happens when because we gotta remember, we gotta put ourselves in the story, in these verses, right? In the class. Okay, where do I not seek the Most High? Where do I not acknowledge the Most High in my thoughts? Okay, I'm an aspiring king, right? I'm an aspiring leader. I'm aspiring to be a righteous man. Where do I not acknowledge the Father? Is it in my relationship? Right? The Father's telling me to require of my rib, but I'm afraid to require of my rib. Well, God is not in your thoughts. Because why? That situation, that your rib has more power than your mind. Because you're more afraid of her. Right? Because of her reaction. You don't know if she's going to leave you. So, Most High is not in your thoughts. Because you're thinking about what your rib was saying over the Most High. Right? Well, my kids, I don't want them to hate me or nothing like that. Well, you got to discipline them. I mean, you got to do it with wisdom, but you got to discipline them. So you can't be afraid of your children. But right there, you're showing what? The Most High is not in your thoughts. He ain't your power. He ain't your power. He's not the one that you lean on. So we're going to find this out about this king, that the Most High wasn't his power. He didn't trust in the Father. And he didn't care to. Because the Most High is not in all his thoughts. Read.
The Most High is not in all his thoughts.
Mm-hmm. That was it? Yeah, so we're going to find out that the Most High is not in all his thoughts. But we're going to find out where it stemmed from. Go to 1 Kings 16:25. 1 Kings 16 and verse 25. Because this is that. So we're going into like Ahab and so we're going to glimpse at Omri. Because Omri is the father of Ahab. So we're going to learn where he get this bad traits from. Right? About doing wicked. So read that.
1 Kings chapter 16, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord.
And think about it. You don't think these men knew about the Most High? Knew about his laws? Do y'all think that? Yeah, these men, they knew. They knew the law of the Most High. This king, he knew. And he's seen what happened to the king previously. Right? They know what happened to the other king. But why is it that he went about doing the same evil? Well, we just read it in Psalms. Through the pride of his countenance, God is not in all his thoughts. So he's not there mentally. He's sleepwalking. So King Omri is sleepwalking, but this is trickling down to his next generation. Because who's watching him while all this going on? His children. So they're seeing him literally wrought evil, but we're going to find out what type of evil. Read.
He's fallen to the same thing David didn't fall to, slipping at the prosperity of the wicked.
Right.
Because he's probably looking at them and see how they succeeded with wickedness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he probably get away with the same thing.
Right. And yeah, good point. And you got to think about that too. It's like you're looking at the nations, because we do that now, right? You in the truth. You know you can't eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. You know your lifestyle starting to change to where, like, especially if you're coming in and you starting to realize, oh damn, the Lord wants me to dedicate. He wants me to give my life, and I got to sacrifice my doubts, right? I got to put away my doubt. I got to put away my selfishness, right? I got to put away my hunger for money, right? I got to stop putting my woman, my children before God, right? I got to stop putting my job before God. I got to stop chasing after these carnal passions, these fleshly desires. But you're looking at the nations, and you're looking at the brothers and sisters that's still stuck in the world, and you're looking at them, and you're like, damn, they living it up. It may seem that way to a person that's what? God is not in all his thoughts, right? It may seem that way. And of course, you know, you could be in your right state of mind. You'll see, like, man, these guys got it good. But you will check yourself, though, and you'll pause, and you won't allow that thought to simmer into your brain, and you won't run with it. But we're seeing that his father ran with it, right? These men, they ran with it, and they enjoyed it. You see that he wrought. That means he worked it. I mean, he put in some work to accomplish this evil. So, read on.
And did worse than all that were before him.
So he's seen all the negative that they was doing before him, the kings, right, before him. But he's not looking at it like, whoa, this is God giving me an opportunity to get my life right, to put him in all my thoughts. That before I ascend to the throne, right, that before he makes me a king, right, that I have a chance to do it right. I don't have to make the same mistake. But because the Most High is not in all his thoughts, what is he doing? He's omitting that. He ain't paying attention to all that. The Lord is righteous. The Lord, he that waited on the Lord, right? The Lord is going to save you. He's not thinking about all that. Commit thy way unto the Lord, and that thought shall be established. He's not thinking about all of that. He's thinking about the here and the now, right? And we're going to see how that affected his son Ahab. Read.
Verse 26. For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat.
So we see what he was doing. He was looking at the bad example, right? And following the bad example. And he was okay with it. Even after what the Most High had did to them. Even the thing about the level of judgment the Most High did to Jeroboam. Right? He didn't even look at all that. He was looking at, he felt, I don't know, what would make him, I get it. When you're in the wrong state of mind, you're not thinking about any consequences. And that's the key point in there. That you don't think about consequences. You're not careful in what you do. So we're finding out that somebody, right, that goes into a position, and you have this position, and you're in this leadership position, and if you're in that leadership position without having gone through the proving process, the correct way, right, you won't be cautious. Because you won't look at your experiences. You won't look at the times that somebody gives you advice or correction or counsel as good. You'll look at it like, man, you're trying to stop me from doing good. He probably didn't even notice that. I wonder if he didn't even acknowledge that was the father who checked Jeroboam. Because God is not in all the thoughts of the wicked. They don't consider. They don't think about any of the Most High's ways. But we have to think about, I want to keep the trend. Keep it in your mind that, well, where do I think about the Father? Because think about it, this is a magnitude of sin. This is a magnitude of wickedness. But look at the little sin that we do when we let pride in. Look at what you do in your house when you let pride in. Right? Look at your family when you allow that pride to stay in your house. Right? And you don't check it. You got to see what it can breed. Because Jeroboam is acting away, right? And then now Omri is looking at that, but Jeroboam not considering the people. So wicked king, God is not in all his thoughts. He's not considering the people. He's not considering the man that will be the next king, and how he set a bad example for him, right? Because this king, Omri obviously had to be immature. He wasn't thinking about the consequences. And that's what we got to be thinking about. A king's supposed to be thinking about consequences. But we're seeing the traits of a bad king. He don't think about consequences, right? He loves pleasures more than righteousness, right? So we find out these things about this king. And we're going to go into this. Go ahead, read on.
And in his sin, wherewith he made Israel to sin.
And look at that. So Jeroboam made the whole nation of Israel to sin. He made the whole nation of Israel to sin because of his bad example. And so much so the king picked it up. King Omri, he picked it up. He picked up the same traits as Jeroboam. So you got to look at, and let's slow it down, right? We got to, again, look at our house. We got to look at ourselves. Then we got to look at our house. And we got to see what type of influence, what type of bad habits do I have that's going to be influential to my house. Am I lazy? Do I not like to study? Am I lazy? Do I not like to clean up? Am I dishonest? I like to tell lies? Am I deceptive? Do I like to hide? Right? You gotta look at all these different things. And you gotta see that people in a weak mind, they're susceptible to picking up your bad habits. Because they're not strong. They're supposed to be looking to you for strength. Your rib's supposed to be looking to you for strength in the spirit of the Most High. Your kid's supposed to be looking to you for strength in the spirit of the Most High. But you gotta see that though. But we're seeing in a king where the Most High is not in all his thoughts, they don't see that. He's not seeing that. You see that? Because he's not considering it or thinking about it. Go ahead.
To provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanity.
And he don't realize that he's teaching them how to do evil. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care that he's teaching them how to be judged by the Father. Right? But the Father will give him a spanking. He doesn't care about that. But just highlighting Omri, right, and his behavior a little bit. Right? And his thought process a little bit. Because God was the Most High, obviously wasn't in his thought. Right? He didn't care about pleasing the Father. Right? He didn't look at the good examples that was living around his time. Right? So he chose to look at the bad examples. Right? So you can tell this guy was what? Spiritually what? Desolate. Right? He was what? He was spiritually desolate. And just to go through it, precept, right? Discern, spiritually discern. You know that one? In Corinthians? Spiritually discern. This is what we find out about King Omri. The natural, 1 Corinthians 2 and 14. Yeah, and somebody look at the discern. This is what we find out about his mind. This is what we find out about who got it.
1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit.
And we're reading that what? The natural man is who? The carnal man. The man that's dealing in the carnal mind. Right? He's chasing after pleasures. Right? He's chasing after negative, evil. He love evil. He love negative. He love being a whoremonger. Right? He love being a robber, thief, a liar. Right? He like moving shiesty. That's what we find out about Amber. He like moving shiesty. He wanted to serve the gods of the other nations over his God. Right? Over the Most High. So he don't receive the things of the Spirit, so he can't see where he's off. Nor does he care his desire to see that, where he's off. He's not thinking about how he's affecting the people, and then now he's teaching people to do what? Set up idols. Right? And in this time period, because we got to think about ourselves, right? Where do I lack spiritual awareness? Because that's the point of it. Capturing ourselves in the midst of these stories, in the midst of these moments. This is a king, this is a wicked king, right? And I got to look at the battles that I have right now. And if I'm prideful, if I'm envious, if I'm hateful, if I'm murderous, right? If I'm jealous, whatever spirit it may be, I got to look at myself and I got to look at this wicked king, because the way he is, that means he didn't resist the devil. That means he didn't fight against those demons that was in him. And when I don't fight the demons that's in me, I'm going to be susceptible to the same things that he is. And I'm going to treat my family that way. I'm going to treat my wife that way. I'm going to treat my kids. And then I'm going to treat all the brothers and sisters that way. With no love, no care. Right? And I'm going to only care about accomplishing my desires. So now, because he's so in depth in that darkness, the natural man does what?
The natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit.
So now he can't see the Most High in his life. Because God ain't in his all his thoughts. And what we don't know about God?
For they are foolishness.
They are foolishness.
Unto him.
They are foolishness on them. He deems it foolish. Right? So being what? What would be foolish? What would be deemed foolish by somebody that doesn't care about the Word of God? What would be deemed foolish by somebody that doesn't care about the Word of God? Correction. Okay, that's a good one. Correction, because everybody deals with that right now, right? A lot of people deal with that, correction. And I like that you said that one because, of course, the Most High was correcting him along the way. Of course, the Most High was checking him and trying to slow him down before he gave him that ultimate judgment, right? The Most High is definitely trying to slow him down, show him, hey, man, you got to be more aware. You don't see the brothers, the officers, the soldiers, the general, your advisor. He's picking up your bad habits. He's picking up your eating habits. He's picking up your lying habits. He's picking up your deceptive habits. You making the people around you weaker. You making them desire and chasing after other gods. Right? And this is the thing that you got to see that along the path. The Most High was checking all that. But he wasn't trying to resist it because he didn't care. Because he was spiritually discerned, because the word of the Most High was foolish to him. What you going to say, Trey John? Oh. You said who? Unity. Unity, right? Oh, what you saying about it? Right. So he was thinking about himself. And to a person that don't believe in the Word of God, correction is foolish, unity is foolish, and all you think about is you. But both of what y'all saying is right on point, because correction would be foolish, because when you be corrected about you being self-willed and being selfish, you're not, or you're about how your example is bad and how it can affect the brothers and sisters around you. You won't care about that. Like, why? Why should that matter to me? We're going to find that out, that this is what was in that king, honoring his son. Like, you're like, why should I care about that? His dad was careless, so what do you think he is? He's careless. But think about yourself. Think about how you can affect your house. Because how you can affect your house is how you're going to affect your brothers and sisters. You see that? So if you're careless, you're going to make your sons and daughters careless, who's going to make your ribs careless, and there's no nurturing. There's no love, right? So, read the definition you have. Oh, did you read the part where it says discern? Okay, read on.
Neither can you know them, because they are spiritually discerned.
Because they are spiritually discerned. Go ahead.
Discern. To see or understand the difference.
Well, in this sense, it's talking about a negative discern. Right? Negative. Neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. That means they don't know how to, hardly do they guess right. Right? They don't know how to judge right from wrong. They can't see clearly. Right? Like, think about it in this sense. We would go to war based off of the Most High, right? The Most High said it's okay, he said it's not okay. But then a wicked king would do what? He'd just go to war. He wouldn't consider the Most High. And if the prophet told him don't go, what is he doing? In his mind, like, he's looking at it like, this is a man. You're man. How I know that? How I know that's right? So he's fighting against the council. So inwardly, you fight against what the Most High is telling you to do, what you know that you're supposed to be doing that's right. Right? So there's a wrestle on the inside going on, is what we're figuring out. Is that King Omri, all these wicked kings, they have a wrestle going inside because they know the word of God, right? But then they're not aspiring to do the things that's pleasing to God. So then what's going to happen to their kingdom? It's going to fall. But we got to take it to our level. I have a house, I have a wife, I have kids, I have sons and daughters, right? I'm around the body. What am I doing? that can hurt the weak mind, right? The unlearned, right? And me being aware of the things that I'm dealing with, what do I need to do to overcome it so that I don't become this keen armoring individual, right? And I know we talk about these are male characters, right? But apply yourself there, sisters. As a princess of Israel, right? What am I prideful and stubborn and envious and jealous and where am I fighting against the spirit, right? In my life right now. And what's causing me to not move forward? What's causing the Most High Damien wanting to, it's to where he's closing out his communication with me. To where I feel like the Most High is not even acknowledging me right now. Men and women, right? You gotta ask yourself that because that'll have you, because then you can see in that moment that you're moving in a fashion that a wicked king was moving, right? And not calling anybody wicked, but I know we all aspiring and we're learning, we're striving. But I'm saying that where am I struggling, where am I sinning, where am I lacking in my dedication, in my push? Because we at least gotta be pushing forward to get better and closer with the Father. Where am I lacking in those areas? And am I lacking? Look at my house. Look at my house and look at the people around me. And I should want to do better, but this history is giving you a glimpse if you was in a leadership position and you didn't acknowledge it, you was careless, right? Because what's some careless things that people do in the world when it comes to human interaction? You interacting with people and caring for people. Go ahead. So they'll utter what's on their mind. A careless act. Because then what? You don't consider, are you going to hurt somebody's feelings? Right? Are you going to make somebody feel bad? Right? Are you going to break them down, like belittle? Right? Because we know there's a difference, right? There's correction, which is showing you the right way. So we don't want to confuse the two. You got to get corrected. That's what the words say, right? But there's a belittling where your intention is not to correct and help uplift. There's a belittling, a demeaning, I'm better than you type of speech where you just let words loosely come out your mouth. And if you're that type of person, right, where you just let words loosely come out your mouth, you got to consider it. I would be acting like this guy, keen on, careless, and I would affect the people, right? Because that would make a person do what? When you got loose lips and you just say whatever comes out of your mouth and you just hurt people's feelings. Makes them not want to listen to you, right? Makes them not want to be around you because you say things that's hurtful, right? You say killer words. What's another thing? Say, man. So hurt people. So it'll be a hurt person that's hurting people now. So then what does that do to a nation? Because that's domino. That what you just said, that's a domino effect. That trickles down to the next man, the next woman. Because then now you're teaching it you teaching a bad habit to somebody else. You gained it, right? So he was putting his hands on you, so now you putting your hands on people, right? Because you felt powerless for him, and now you feel powerful above somebody else. But that's what these wicked kings is doing, right? They're doing all this evil, but they're doing it without considering that they're affecting people around them. And that's what we got to look at. How am I affecting the people around me, right? I may not be this king. I may not have done this level of this is how we think, right? I ain't doing that level of sin. I ain't doing nothing like that. Shoot, that don't apply to me. But look at the little things that you do that your children can pick up. The little negative that you do that your children can pick up. The things that you do in secret that nobody knows that people pick up around you because spirits leap like frogs. And that king was not considering that at all. That spirits leap like frogs. And it can affect the people around them. And it's important, right? We finished? We jump back to the kings. We done with that. Go to Ezekiel 18:14. So we talk about this king Omri, bro. But what we understand is that his son picked up the nation. And I want to see, are y'all still flowing with the train? Y'all still able to kind of see the correlation between the house and the king? I want to make sure that's clear for everybody. What y'all getting so far? You want a different hand. Your hand's always up. You got a quick trigger. Yeah, you becoming the second nature one. You coming number 3. I want number 4, number 5 on the top 5 list to pop up. Who got a hand raised? Who's ready? Trajan, that's he is. Sold to the highest bidder. Right? Go ahead, Trajan. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's right. And that can be and just in the sense of just applying it to a sister, right? It could be a sister too. Because we're gonna find out that this king, he had a wife, and his wife was doing things. And he wanted to put things in order. So and that was affecting the whole nation. The mindset of everybody. So read Ezekiel 18 and 14.
Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 14. Mm-hmm. Now, lo, if you begot a son.
So now, we talk about King Omri and how he set a bad example for his son. And we got to understand how big, how important of a responsibility we have as Israelites, right? As leaders of the people, right? We're supposed to be a light to the world. And we got to see that because I want to reiterate the point. Look at a king who reigned without the Most High in his heart. He wasn't considering anybody around him, anything or anybody around him. He was destroying at all turns. And we're finding out that now, it says, now lo, read.
If he begot a son that seeth all his father's sins.
Now he begot a son that's seen all his sins. This is talking about if the son, because I want to give you all the context of the verse. I want you to read on.
Which he hath done, and considereth and doeth not such like.
Now this scripture is talking about how the son, he ain't doing what the father did. But the point is, that I wanted to put with this verse was that the children are seeing. And in this instance, this son wasn't strong. This son wasn't strong to where he wasn't not trying to do the same things that the father was doing. He actually engaged him. He thought nothing was wrong with it because who was doing it? The first example, right? His first example, his eyes open to his father when he come out the mother's womb, right? He lays eyes on his father and mother and the doctors, right? Those are the first people in the room. But then he goes home to his father and his mother, and he sees all those things. And the children, they got to develop strength over time. But the point I wanted to put out in that is that I have to really, as a mother, I have to really, as a father, I have to really, as a brother, a sister, right? That may not have kids, that may not be married, right? But I have to care about the body, the ministry, right? Because that's my family. And I have to see what's really in me. What's really in me that people see, that people can pick up on, and it's bad. And this person, it can affect them bad, right? To where now, think about what the Most High does when He judges you with that bad habit that you know, whether it be like lust, right, or your pride. What the Most High does when you like, damn, okay, the Most High checked me for my pride. He checked me because I was lying. He checked me because I broke a vow. He checked me because I was being lazy. I should have cleaned the room. I should have cleaned the house when I was told to, right? I should have been putting my spirit in when I was babysitting, right? My siblings, my dad told me to do it, right? I should have seen that. I was watching my son, but I wasn't really watching my son, right? Whatever bad habit you have, you got to look at it and be like, well, damn. Somebody's watching me when I don't give my full spirit. Somebody's watching me when I give myself into the sin. And it's affecting me. And we're figuring out that this affected, we're going to find out Ahab. King Ahab. So go to Proverbs 11, verse 29. Yeah, read that.
Proverbs chapter 11, verse 29.
Mm-hmm.
He that troubleth his own house.
We're realizing that these individuals are troubling their own house. But as they're troubling their own house, is it just being stuck with their house? Yeah, it's not being just stuck with their house. It's outspreading like a venom. It's spreading fast like venom. And it's being cancerous to where now everybody's being given to lasciviousness, right? They're not respecting marriages, right? They're being defiled in their marriages. Everybody wants to be a thief, a robber, a murderer, right? Everybody want to do wrong. Nobody wants to do good. Nobody cares to do righteousness because they're looking at their examples. I said it yesterday, right? There was this family that I met in the mall. Well, not a family, but this guy I met in the mall. He was in the military, and his parents on the I was saying this yesterday. His parents own a tattoo shop, right? His dad got tattoos all over his body, and on his scalp right? His mother got tattoos all over. They give people tattoos. And they gave him his first tattoo. But then they don't want him to get tattoos. Does that even make sense? That makes like zero sense. Because first and foremost, let's say without them giving him the tattoo, y'all got tattoos all over. So y'all affected him. So they don't, and this is Northern Kingdom. They don't realize that they causing him to sin. He already breaking the law. Thou shalt not make any markings upon your skin. They don't even know that. But they're causing him to do negative, and then they're teaching him how to be a hypocrite. Right? They're teaching him not to uphold to the same standard that they're requiring. And not realizing that that's affecting him. And it's important that we realize that you can trouble your house. You can make your kids' lives hard. You can make brothers' paths harder. Now, is it you? No, because they're weak-minded. They're weak-minded, so they're quick to run to the weak example. So it's really them, but you, it's like this you're a hurdle, because they don't see the spirit of the Most High completely just yet. They're babes in the spirit. If it's a brother, and they're children, they're young, so they don't really see the Most High all the way just yet. So you're supposed to be there, not trying to trouble your house. But we find out this king, he'll trouble his house. He'll do it with no care. And be on the basis of what? Read.
So,
or what? Oh.
He that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind.
What? He's not going to get anything. But there's another one I was looking for. I think that was the wrong one. It was talking say he was greedy of gain. He has greedy of gain, trouble his own house. And
Proverbs chapter 15, verse 27. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house.
Right?
But he that hateth gifts shall live.
Dang. It's one that I'm thinking about. I'm probably mixing two verses in my head. Like when you trouble your house, and the Most High destroy. I'm mixing two verses in my head. The Most High destroy your house because you're doing negative, and he'll destroy your house. He'll take your kids, wife, because of you. You being the leader. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing a verse in my head. Dang. I wish I. Yeah, but let's go on. Let's go to 1 Kings 18:18. So go to verse 17 in that Kings. Because this is Ahab speaking to Elijah. Elijah's coming to check Ahab about what he's doing. That's wrong. But look at what Ahab is doing. So we can go there later.
1 Kings chapter 18, verse 17. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, Art thou he that troubleth Israel?
So he went to meet up with Ahab, Elijah. Elijah told Obadiah, who was a servant and who was a Ahab's servant. He told him to, hey, tell Ahab, meet me here, right? And Ahab met up with him, and Ahab, as the first words that come out of his mouth, he's passing the buck. He don't want to own up to the responsibility. So we're finding out another way of thinking of a person that's a king, right? How he thinks when he's not thinking about the Father. He don't want to acknowledge where he's doing wrong. So he's trying to pass the buck. He's trying to pass the blame on Elijah. Read.
And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou in thy father's house.
Why? But he's doing two things in one. He got checked now because he tried to pass the buck. But he's like, it's your father's house. It's you and your father. Y'all causing Israel to sin. Y'all doing it negative. That's why Israel's in trouble, because you're teaching them how to do things that's contrary to the Father. You're teaching them you're almost teaching them that the Father doesn't exist. That's basically what you're doing, because these men were literally teaching these guys they were setting up groves, right? They were making temples. They was worshiping Baal. And they literally teaching the people how not to serve God. And so they're giving to their pleasures, right? Because we're going to find out about Ahab. He married a woman of another nation, right? And now he wants to please that woman. So now he's troubling Israel, but he don't want to acknowledge how he's troubling Israel. And he's not seeing that he learned all these bad habits from his father, and now it's trickling down to where now he's not respecting the Most High who put him in the position that he's in. Right? So now he's not upholding the job and the duty of a king, which is to be a leader of the people. Right? A good leader of the people. Not just a vain one. So we see that it was him and his father. So he learned these bad habits from his father. And the bad habit, we're going to go into the mentality. Right? Go to 1 Kings 16 and 30.
1 Kings chapter 16, verse 30. And Ahab, the son of Omri,
So we figured that out, right? He's the son of Omri. Read.
did evil in the sight of the Most High.
So he did evil in the sight of the Lord. And he didn't care. So the same carelessness that his father had, he has. Right? So he don't want to acknowledge his sin. He's trying to pass the buck on somebody else. His father does. Right? So he's picking up the traits of his father. The Most High is not in his thoughts. Right? And when you think about it, it's interesting. The Most High wasn't in his father's thoughts. Right? Because he wasn't first and foremost, he was trying to please his father. He was literally trying to do negative. Right? But you're sitting here, you're trying to get your life right. You're not trying to, right, stay in the negative that you were in, the cycle that you was in when you was in the world. Right? Or you're trying to get away from those things. And you're trying to stay strong in the spirit. But you have bad habits. And those bad habits are sinful habits. Right? And he's not seeing how he got affected by his parent. Right? And now you're sitting here, we're sitting here reading the history. So we're supposed to be looking at it like, how can that affect my son right now? How can I affect my daughter? And we're supposed to be looking at those things and seeing how it can affect just the whole nation. Because I have habits that I'm unaware of. Right? You might be absent-minded, but it took you been sitting in that class where we were talking about being an absentee parent to notice how absent-minded you were. But you have to take a note and look at this guy and see what led him toward this being this super carnal-minded individual. When it was brought to his attention, right? It's being brought to his attention by Elijah. He didn't take heed to it. He didn't take heed to it. He said, no, it was you. It's you, Elijah. It's your fault. You causing me to fall. You causing Israel to fall. He's trying to pass the buck. Right? You make an excuse. So you look at another individual. Right? So think about this even as a woman. Right? Because I know you deal with it a lot, right? In councils. They like to pass the blame on who? Right? Everybody but themselves. Everybody's wrong. Right? Everybody's the reason why I'm not righteous. Everybody's the reason why I'm mentally unstable, but myself. Right? And brothers do the same thing. Right? Brothers will do the same. Now, I not at the magnitude but they'll do it at times. Right? When somebody was there or somebody said something and they felt like it wasn't a clear delivery. And they're like, well, such and such did it, and you didn't say nothing. Right? You didn't tell me not to do it. That's why I slipped and fell. Nobody ever said it was wrong to get numbers at the mall. Right? And then you'll blame it off of that. Instead of just acknowledging, you know what? I know I deal with lust. I know I deal with that. I know I deal with pride. I know I just want to be a whoremonger. I'm coming from being a whoremonger. I shouldn't entertain that. Instead of just acknowledging and just being upfront like that. But you pick up that habit where you just talk in that fashion where you want to be deceptive and not want to acknowledge your faults. And that's Ahab. So, but we're going to go a little bit into just that mindset. Go to Proverbs 7:2. Because this is what he did. Proverbs 7:2 is going to show us this is what he didn't want to do. This is what he did not want to do. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 7 and verse 2. Keep my commandments.
And that's what he didn't want to do. Literally, he didn't want to keep the commandments. Proverbs chapter 7 verse 2. Right? He didn't want to keep the commandments of the Lord. Read.
And live.
Because he wasn't caring about doing the things to live. Right? And what's some things, who knows about Ahab a little bit? Who knows just a little bit about Ahab? No, lie. Outside, just his thought process. Lie. No, he's a king. Yeah, he's a king. And I want to see if everybody even knows. Because what we're going to, I'm gonna just say it, right? We're gonna go into it, but he was the double-minded cat, right? He was indecisive in his mind because he wasn't assured in the spirit of the Most High, right? Because he wasn't keeping the commandments, and he didn't realize that the things that he learned from his father taught him how to be emotionally, right? Be an emotional cat, right? And make decisions based off of emotion. And he wasn't paying attention to the things that he was actually learning, supposed to be learning from the bad example that that's what I shouldn't do. I shouldn't set up groves. I shouldn't serve Baal, right? I shouldn't give myself to a like-minded woman. Because look at how it affected my father. That's what kids should be looking at. Like, look at the bad example and seeing that how it affected them. And I want to be a better version of what my father was not, right? I want to be better because I want to be pleasing in the eyes of the Most High. And that's what we're supposed to be realizing, that he was understanding that he was supposed to be keeping the commandments so that he can live, so he can be mentally stable, right? So he can be clear and decisive. But we're going to find out this individual was very indecisive. Jezebel's husband? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, I do remember that one.
Okay, so you know about
They
him.
have names.
Okay, come on.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
Okay, yeah, I do remember, he was killing off a lot of the Israelites, and Isaiah had to save, 100 prophets in that timeline?
yeah, Obadiah did.
Yeah.
You kind of got to just, but you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but Obadiah was the one who hid them in the mountain.
Oh,
But,
God.
yeah, but Elijah did come and play his role too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did come play his role in saving Israel from that.
And then he repented, though. He was repentant.
Yeah, if I remember right, toward the end. I think toward the end, right? Toward the end, because he like seeing all the judgment. But no. Maybe I'm thinking about Josiah at that part. Hezekiah. Or Manasseh. I'm thinking about what? Yeah, I'm probably thinking of Manasseh on that part. No, because the Most High definitely, we're going to find out, destroy them.
He got killed afterwards, but he repented the first time.
We got to see. You got to double check that. So he didn't want to keep the Most High law as the apple of his eye. So this is what we realize about a king that don't care about pleasing the Father and realizing that the kingdom is the Most High. He'll destroy the people. He'll destroy himself. And that's why he's destroying the people. Because go to Wisdom of Solomon 8:16.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 16. After I come.
Oh, no. Was it 9:18? For the mortal thoughts?
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 14.
Come.
For the thoughts of moral men are miserable.
So we're going to find out this guy was miserable. Think about it. Think about this, like you growing up in a dysfunctional household. How does that feel? Everybody just comes from the world, so how does that feel growing up in a dysfunctional household? Whether it's single parent, two parent, but the parents arguing, not seeing eye to eye, right? How does that feel growing up in the world? Let's say it like that.
Just listening to all the arguing, it's just chaos. Because that's all you feed in your mind, and that's all you think about. That's all you meditate on when you go to sleep.
Right. How does that affect a person?
I know I used to wake up some days like, damn. As you go outside, like, damn, we gotta do. Like, I didn't know what it was in the world. Like, damn, what are we dealing with? Like, how do we get out of this madness?
Right.
So like miserable. And then some days I just felt like nobody better not say nothing to me.
Right.
Because anybody can catch it right now.
Right.
So it was just like this unbalanced, a lot of unbalanced thoughts. It's like, it's real miserable. Real miserable feeling.
Yeah.
Some days.
It's miserable because you don't know where to go. You don't know what's the way out of it. You don't know. You like your parents. Like you said, are you about to say something though?
Yeah, I would say your parents they just argue. That's all you hear. It makes you want to argue with your siblings, and then you don't want to communicate with your siblings. Then you don't want to communicate with your parents.
So it makes you hasty.
Everybody hates each other.
Yeah. So now it makes you. So it puts a anger spirit on you. you disrespectful spirit, I hate you spirit, right? Now you start saying I hate you. I wish you wasn't my brother. I wish you wasn't my sister. They put those spirits on you. You get on my nerves. Get out of my room. All right? You're like, get out of my room. And leave me alone. You don't want to be around your siblings. It's the Most High, but that's what you pick up from your parents, though. It does make you, it makes you, it frustrates you. It frustrates you because you get annoyed. I'm speaking from personal experience, right? It frustrates you because you get annoyed because you're like, damn, she's wrong on that side, he's wrong on that side. But it is like these guys arguing, whose side is supposed to be on? Oh, this is none of my business. This is grown folk business. But dang, they arguing. They need to stop being loud. You're like, but damn, this is none of my business. This is grown folk business. And they're like, oh, what do I do? You're like, dang. And he drunk. He ain't even in his right state of mind. But then she arguing with the drunk. Like, what's going on over here? You're like, what the heck do I do? And it makes you indecisive. And just your regular decision making, your thought process. You hesitate a lot because you don't want to make the wrong move. You see that? I'm saying that from personal experience. You don't want to make the wrong move and upset anybody, so you start hesitating. But this is how Omri affected Ahab, and now Ahab's this way, to where he's indecisive, emotional, and he's miserable in his mind because all he's seen is negative. But now he's embodying that negative that he's seen. But this is the effect that you can have as somebody that's not acknowledging the Father in all your ways. You'll make your children miserable, right? You'll make him operate like a mortal man when you got the truth. And they'll be so miserable, they don't know how to deal with their emotions in that because you don't do what? Because think about it. Whose parents in here used to sit down and talk, actually have real talks with them? Like, oh, kind of. Yeah, right, kind of. Like literally to the level that you know now that it's supposed to be done. Who's having those type of conversations with their parents? Right? The kids can say it now. Teenagers, they can say it, but nah. The kids and the teenagers can say it. I know the grown folks can't say it. Right? Who's literally like having those conversations? Nope, nobody? Basically, like who's having like the sit-down talks where your parents actually talk to you, going into your mind, your spirit, seeing what's going on with you, helping you get rid of those negative thoughts, right? And how did you feel when you would have thoughts in your mind? And this is me asking the question. How would you feel when you had those thoughts in your mind and your parents, they ain't got nothing to give if they're moving their mouth, right? Or they're not giving you anything at all. Or they're not even around. You probably be a foster kid or you're out there on your own. How did that feel? Like, I mean, let's share. Because the reason why I'm saying it with that and slowing it down like that because we can just run through the verses, but you'll miss the substance of what you're supposed to get from the class, because you're supposed to be looking at yourself and not just the historical aspect of the king. We're supposed to look at ourselves and not just the historical aspect of the king. Look at what I got when somebody that was supposed to be my guide, my shepherd, didn't do their job, right? And look at how it affected me, because I want to be able to prevent what was given, what was not given. I want to be able to prevent the negative that I picked up from my parents' example, passing on to my children, and they passing on to other children in the body, right? Or me passing on to other brothers in the body, passing it to other sisters in the body. I want to prevent that, but how did you feel when you wasn't getting those type of talks? Go ahead, Lana. Yeah, you too quick.
Well, I actually sought information from other people, and
you sought information from other people.
yeah, from other older people that wasn't my parents.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me bad advice, of course, because they didn't care nothing about me.
Right.
Hind thought is, I wish that they did talk to me because I did seek out to learn things, but I just didn't have anybody to get the information from. And when I did get information, it was still not fruitful.
Yeah. Somebody else got their hand up? Oh, it's young dudes. Oh, my Zara. My bad. Yeah, that sucks. Because then you trying to make a decision on, it's a lot of things you're trying to learn when you're young and you're trying to pick up, like from the world. It's like you trying to pick up like how to be a young man, right? What's the right way to go? Like like I'm thinking about myself, right? When I was a kid, I wanted to know what I'm supposed to be doing, how I'm supposed to be thinking, how I'm supposed to react, what I'm supposed to do. Like I remember just being in the fourth grade. I'm gonna let you speak too. Being in the fourth grade, I was in the fourth, right? Yeah. And my sister, it's funny the way it was set up, though. And the way Most High set it up, and I was able to kind of catch it. But my sister, she started snapping at somebody because somebody said, your mama this type of thing. And then I went home, I heard the way my mom corrected. I was like, oh, she did a bad thing? I didn't know if what she did was a bad or a good thing. I was like, okay, she got in trouble in school. But I mean, she was trying to do a good thing. She was trying to defend her mama's name. But then she went home and got scolded by her mama. My mom, right? But, and then she got scolded. I'm like, oh, so she didn't do the right thing. She's like, she don't know your mama. What she know about your mom? Where she know me from? Why you getting mad? Right? She's saying with her accent, where you know me from? Right? And but that was like a little piece of little guidance. But even in that moment though, that little split second, I didn't know what to do. Because then when the time came for me, which was the very next day, somebody says, hey, your mama, I got tight. I'm over here with him going back word for word, but then I paused in the moment. I paused in that moment and I was like, oh, my mama didn't even be proud of this. I get the same thing my sister got. But you know, I didn't have that all the time. That was just the one thing I was able to grab from her. But I didn't have that all the time. Imagine the person that don't know. And then the cat over there in my back trying to gas me up. Gas me up. Give him that. Give him. Don't let that man talk about your mama, man. He's trying to gas me up on the side. And I'm like, hold on now. So if I give into this dude's voice is gonna have power over me. But a lot of people don't have that. This dude's voice is gonna have power over my mind to where peer pressure. Now I'm gonna accept the peer pressure. Because now he has power over me because I want to make myself look good in front of him and the people that was around. So we catch on those spirits, but we don't have nobody telling us not to. I had that one moment with my mom, but a lot of things I didn't learn. A lot of things I learned the truth now. That was the one thing I say I took, was just being cautious. That's the one thing which was good that I took from my mother, just being cautious, just very cautious. To an extent, towards unbalanced. But I take that because it kept me away from certain things, but I engaged, of course, still fell into what I fell into, but because of lack of guidance. But I was just thinking that it's because there's a lot of things that we missed out on and it affected you and it made you miserable, right? It was like, I'm gonna let you talk because I was gonna keep on talking. Go ahead, Matazara. But there's something I want to say, but I'm gonna let you talk. A lot of people I'm going.
I say for me, the advice wasn't necessarily spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always in the direction of the Bible. And then when I learned the truth, they wasn't really trying to hear it anyways. But I would say that the advice would always come from submit to whatever format was already given to you, like the school system or dealing with let's say stay out of trouble, similar to what you were saying as well.
The basics.
Yeah, but I would say stuff like studying Malcolm X. Instead of studying Malcolm X, I wouldn't have minded switching up that time to study the Bible because if I had started a little earlier, that probably would have helped.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people they put up, like Martin Luther King, they want you to study the quotes and stuff like that. And, I already knew from a young age that wasn't it, but at the same time, just putting time into things that, are just useless or I guess are considered idols to other people, it's just.
So you was basically just giving to whatever. Nobody was telling you to refrain.
I would say along the lines of, I did get told to refrain. Yeah. Because I'll say this, right? My parents said this, right? You don't want to deal with a lot of people that
Right.
On the other hand, I wasn't really shown what a friend would do, right? Like,
Okay.
like a friend would cast.
One-sided.
Yeah, like a friend is gonna keep you out of trouble. You know, tell you to do the right thing.
They didn't tell you the difference between a bad friend and a good friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't give you the clarity of what they was even dropping to you.
Yeah, it was just kind of assumed, and it was along the lines of, well, you know, don't do drugs, you know,
Right.
the basic stuff.
Yeah, so they're basically saying
Wisdom wasn't really there, you know, and everything was basically, you know, upon the school system, so it wasn't necessarily, okay, well, you know.
How did that confuse you though?
I would say,
Mentally.
specifically, me, it didn't necessarily confuse me. I would just say, personally, I would prefer to have gotten a bit of a head start.
It didn't confuse you. Oh, okay, so it didn't
Yeah,
really.
because I mean, I'll say this, like, I didn't get the worst advice, you know. I wasn't necessarily doing anything too crazy. I was just saying that, personally, me, I would have preferred to have that same time studying Malcolm X. I forgot everything. You know, or like certain stuff that I put my time into in school, I would have preferred to have invested that time into something that I could have actually did.
Yeah, something meaningful.
So yeah, like I would say a lot of my time wasn't really, and I'll say this too, I probably should have studied on, you know, on things that would have been more fruitful.
Right.
Just a lot of the information wasn't really fruitful. It was kind of along the lines of either common sense or, you know, an extreme.
Right.
Versus the wisdom, the balance. It's gonna have you, you know, you can ride with that the whole way.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of it with the friends was kind of just assuming.
One-sided wisdom.
Yeah, exactly.
One-sided information. Yeah. Because wisdom is right. All right. One-sided information. You like you was thinking something, Charlamagne.
What was your original question?
My original question was basically how did it make you feel like when you didn't have nobody to just actually talk to about these things? You had questions in your mind. Like, how did it make you feel? Because we on the scripture and it says, "For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable." And I'm looking at it like when you look at King Omri, what he did to his son. His son's miserable. He's an indecisive individual. He's emotional, right? And then he falls to peer pressure.
I guess for me, because I found the truth at 19. That's my life. But at that age, you're not really thinking on the level of, most people, I know there is a few that do, but you're not really thinking on that level spiritually anyway.
Right.
You're thinking more about, like what I was talking about, there was a lot of moral standards, like you said, there's the American citizen, pay your bills, pay your taxes, do this, that. Like there was that moral standard there, the American moral standard, but there was I was consciously thinking, am I miserable, or did I have miserable thoughts, and because my parents didn't really talk to me on that level. So I didn't have anybody to talk to, and I had two older brothers, no sisters, so it was like I didn't really have a lot of people until I came into the church at 19, and when I realized, okay, there is a lot deeper there, but usually at that age.
You said you didn't realize that that I would be having miserable thoughts?
Yeah, you don't consciously think of it like, oh, this is a miserable thought, like I feel this way because I don't have somebody to express this to give me that wisdom, because you don't really understand that there is a greater wisdom out there to live by until you get the truth.
Yeah, that's.
But I think that how it makes me feel now, like that would be how it made me feel then. But like how it makes me feel now is to kind of like what you said earlier, like where the mistakes that my parents made by not talking, because maybe they just didn't have the wisdom, to where now I gotta make sure I don't fall into that same habit of just letting things go by with the kids, where I see them go through something but I don't say anything or I don't speak or I don't answer question.
Okay.
So that would be the fear of not falling into the same cycle, and then having them knowing that there is a greater wisdom, knowing that there is somebody that they can talk to, and that they do have miserable thoughts.
Right.
I don't put them in a position to where
They're left to themselves.
How I was, but them knowing and not knowing.
Yeah. And you can see, just I like the way your example, because it's like, it paints right with this guy. Because you got to imagine, his dad's a king, but he's a king, and he's doing evil. and then you're doing evil, God's not in your thoughts, so you're definitely not thinking about your children, right? And when you think about them, you're thinking about having them do stuff for you, right? And it's like, he's dealing with all that. My dad don't pay no attention to me. My mom don't pay no attention to me. My dad only cares about serving Baal, right? And then this is probably his weird, twisted way of connecting with his father, right? Because his father ain't really doing his job. And now he's engulfed in that negative, not realizing that because he was young as he's coming up and seeing all these things, he didn't realize that he was picking up the negative traits and it was causing misery. And that misery created peer pressure, it made him vulnerable, basically. So it allowed peer pressure to come in. So when we don't talk to the kids, you allow peer pressure to come and attack them the way peer pressure attacked you. Oh man, you tripping, man. Why you don't want to lose your virginity, bro? You tripping, you something? Right? Oh girl, what? You stop playing. They gonna have boy like you, boy. Don't give him some. Right? Don't play with him. Right? To teach you how to use your body, the feminine body the wrong way. Teach you how to communicate with men the wrong way. Teach men how to deal with women the wrong way. And you picked up that from seeing it. Right? You picked up that from seeing it and then hearing it and being sometimes instructed to do it that way. Like I said, bad wisdom. Right? I remember the dudes at the park. I was at the park. You know, they was telling me, what did they tell me? They told me, you know, they mix good with bad. They told me, don't focus on women right now. They'll come to you when you get the money. They'll just flock on you. So they're like, okay, don't be a whoremonger just yet. Just hold off on being a whoremonger. Get your paper, get your house together, get your car together, and then become a whoremonger. Right? So they literally verbally instructed me to be evil, but wait to be evil. You see that? Not knowing it. And then, luckily I didn't take that part, but that's what they was literally doing. But that's what happens with children. That's what happens with, now you're in the body and you have these habits. That's what happens with a brother, a sister. You come in with that habit and you communicating, right, in a certain fashion that this habit is coming out, this spirit is coming out. The lust, the pride, the envy, the doubt, the lying is coming out in these moments. And somebody else, you got to know that somebody else is looking at you, right? And Omri wasn't careful to he didn't even care to see that Ahab was looking at him, right? He didn't care about his kids. And then now Ahab doing what he's doing, he's not caring about the people, right? And now he's so foolish. When the scriptures say don't give not yourself unto a light woman. What do? He gives himself to a very light woman. A woman that's what? She want to destroy your nation. Yeah, she want to destroy your people. And you roll with it. So go to 2 Peter 2 and 15. Because this is where he's at. This is where he's at. This is the mindset. This is the spirit that he's in. Read.
2 Peter chapter 2 verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
Which have forsaken the right way.
He forsook the right way. Because first and foremost, his dad never taught him the right way. And he's accepted. But this I always know, especially at those times, the Most High was giving him those good examples. He hadn't been given those good examples, those moments of checks to where the Most High gave him. Think about it. Elijah came and stepped to you. Elijah came and stepped to him and was trying to get him on the right path. So the Most High definitely gave him mercy before that big judgment came. Multiple times. Right? But he ain't take heed to it. And we find it out it's because he what?
Have forsaken the right way.
Yeah, and that means to leave without intending to return. So that he was fully set in his heart to do evil. Right? And that's why it says he did evil beyond the evil of what was done before him. That means he had no intention of doing right. So you got to see the little leaven that you have. Who can you affect it? And they may not be as strong as you to where you're like, okay, I'm battling this, but I'm trying to get off of this. But I'm just putting off day to day, so I'm kind of struggling with this. But this kid is looking at it like, okay, that's not a bad thing to do, to lie, to tell half the truth, right? They're looking at that and like, ain't nothing wrong with that. Dad does it, mom does it, my big sister does it, my brother does it, right? My father does it. You know, he's looking at it like that. The brother does it, the sister do it. Why can't I? Right? They're looking at that. And you got to see that that's dangerous. Because you're teaching somebody to forsake the way of the Most High. Read.
Aaron gone astray, following the way of Balaam.
Right, and you're teaching people how to just walk and serve the devil. You're like, I don't worship altars, I don't worship groves, I don't do any of those things. Well, are you prideful? Are you envious? Are you jealous? Are you malicious? Are you slothful? Right? Do you disobey your parents? You gotta think about these things and see what's causing you to fail. What's causing you to be a bad example? What can cause you to do what this king does, which is what? Cancel the Most High out of your mind. Because it starts off with that little leaven. That little leaven can turn to a whole lump. If you don't watch it, you don't be careful. Read.
Who love the wages of unrighteousness.
And then it'll cause you to start falling in love with the evil. You start loving evil more than righteousness. Right? You start loving that negative more than you would love to serve the Father. And that shows itself in what way now? Garments. You won't want to commit. You won't want to learn how to sew a garment the proper way. Right? You won't want to learn how to do the bath bomb the proper way. You won't want to learn how to be a sister. Right? It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that come up. You won't want to learn how to. You won't want to even learn how to. You won't want to aspire to be an elder sister. You'll just be like, I'm here, or you'll leave. One or the other, because now you start to give yourself to that negative so much that you just only care about that sin, that wages. Right? Go to Romans 8:7.
Romans chapter 8, verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High.
Yeah, and these things make a kingdom to fall. Because this man was operating in a carnal mind. And it was causing his kingdom to fall. It was causing the people to be affected. It was causing his family to be affected. It started with Omri and it transitioned to Ahab. Right? And they're breaking down their whole household just off of their sin. They're negative. Read.
For it is not subject to the law.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Of the Most High.
So it's not subject to the law of the Most High. That means they don't care. I'm not trying to submit. I'm not trying to submit, and I don't care to make my family submit. Because I ain't trying to submit. I'm just trying to eat cupcakes, honey buns, and creme brulee, right? I'm just trying to eat good. I'm worried about my belly. I'm worried about my pleasure. I'm worried about what I can accomplish, right? I'm not worried about the people around me. I'm not worried about how can I affect them. I'm not worried about how what I'm doing is causing somebody else to not want to dedicate, right? I stop commit, I decommit from the Spirit of the Lord. Then what's going to happen? The other person that's kind of in their head battling with, should I give myself? Should I not? Right? Then they going to want to decommit, right? Then what am I doing? I'm teaching somebody to accept the worldly way. I'm teaching somebody to accept the worldly way because what? God is not in all my thoughts, right? So we're seeing the reign of a person that what? Don't care about God. And we're going to jump to the story, right? Because I know I've been we were talking, saying it. So I'm going to jump to the story real quick. So it says, go to 1 Kings 16:31.
1 Kings chapter 16, verse 31.
So keep in mind, right? You're supposed to keep in mind your household. First, yourself, your household, right? And the ministry. And the spirit that you're dealing with right now. And what has to be broken off of me so I don't be like this king. Because this is what a wicked king will do. This is what a bad leader will do. You see that? So read that.
1 Kings chapter 16, verse 31. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing.
You see that? A light thing. That means he wasn't really meditating on what he was doing, if it was righteous or unrighteous. If this was a good decision or a bad decision. Because God is not in all his thoughts. Right? He doesn't realize, like we was reading in Psalms 22:8, for the kingdom is the Lord's. Right? He doesn't realize that the Most High removed kings and set it up kings. He's not thinking about that. He's in the pride. He's in that same pride that Esau in, right? That his house is gonna last forever, right? And he think he can just get away with the evil that he's doing at this point. So he's looking at this like a light thing that he's doing. Read.
For him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam.
Right, and we talk about Ahab. Read. So he thought it was a light thing to do the same thing that Jeroboam did. right? Which is the same thing that his father did, which is what now he's doing. Read.
That he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians.
Right, and so now look, now he's marrying this nation. He got all these daughters, but now he want to go mess with this woman. Got all the daughters of Zion, but now he want to mess with this woman. And look what him. Think about him, right? He can easily be peer pressured, right? He's indecisive, and he's miserable in his thoughts, right? So if you got all those three characteristics, and you're in a relationship, what's that woman gonna do? She's gonna run over you, and it's a dangerous place to be, right? Especially when you're not thinking about the Most High and involving Him in the relationship, right? Because you're not gonna think about, oh, I gotta require her, or I know to require her, but I'm not gonna do it because I want to please that woman. Because why? I don't want her to be upset with me. I don't want her to reject me. Right? But think about this. You being a leader of the people. How can that affect the rest of the nation? What you think they're going to do in their relationships? They're going to let this woman do what? Take control in a way that she's not supposed to. Right? Take control in the way she's not supposed to. But we're going to find out. Because I know you're like, well, this is a nation woman. How do I relate to this, sisters? Well, you got to look at it. We all coming from being Americans, coming out of an American mind. So we got heathenistic traits, heathenistic ways of thinking. So now we got to learn how to do what? Detach from it. Well, let's look at what a heathen did, right? Being married to an Israelite. Read.
And went and served Baal.
So she pushed that on him. And he ran with it. He was with it. He ran with it. Why? Because he wanted to do what? Please her. He wanted to please his woman. Right? So what are you teaching? What are you teaching the men? To put women, and this is in an out of order fashion, right? To put your woman and your family first before God. And now you're trying to, or your passion and your desire before God, right? You got to look at how dangerous that is. And this is what he's doing. Go to Jeremiah 2:33. And then get the next Kings, 1 Kings, same chapter, 1 Kings 16:32. So just hold that. Where you at? But this is what he's doing right now.
Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 33.
This is the example that he set for Israel. This is where he's leading them toward their downfall. And what we're figuring out, these are the things that led us into slavery. So this is Jeremiah chapter
2, verse 33.
That's right.
Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love?
This is exactly what he did. This is exactly what Ahab did. He trimmed his ways to seek love. Right? He has these miserable thoughts. Right? He has these miserable thoughts. He's a doubter. He's indecisive. He's insecure. He doesn't believe in himself. And now what is he doing? He's passing that on to the nation. Right? He's passing that on to the brothers and sisters. Read.
Therefore, hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways.
And now, shoot, the rest of the world. Because we're supposed to be a light to the world, right? We're supposed to make the rest of the nations submit to who will? The fathers. But now he's even teaching that to the other nations. Right? And they're like, shoot, I was already with it. And I was waiting for one of y'all to just fall off. Shoot, I was with it. You know what I mean? I was waiting for one of y'all to fall off so I can do what I do. So I was just shocked that you did it. Right? But you trim your ways. You stop. You lessen your manhood in the spirit of the Most High. You lessen your womanhood as a princess of the Most High. When you operate in this fashion where you try to, instead of motivating your husband to commit more, right, to the Most High, you what? You trying to cast his confidence down. You trying to teach him to do the opposite, right? And you don't want to be that way. Or you as a sister, you casting down a sister's confidence from committing more, instead of what? Pushing it forward, right? Or a brother. And you may not be saying that to anybody. It just might just be your deeds, your actions, your ways. You see that? Your lack of commitment, your lack of care, right? You come in when you want to. You be around when you want to. Just that. Now it's different if you're new, you're learning, you come in an environment, you're filling it out. That's different. But if you're around and you're saying this is where I want to be, and you want to come on your own terms, you got to see how that affects people, right? You got to see how that can affect people when you trim your ways because you're trying to please somebody or you're trying to please the flesh. Read on. Oh, that's it on that one. You can go to first Esdras chapter 4:26. And let me ask are y'all seeing that correlation though? I want to make sure it's clear. I know we're talking and going through the scriptures a lot, but I want to make sure y'all are able to see the correlation on how you can see yourself in these instances. You know, so I mean, in curiosity, just who's following? Y'all following? Yeah, I hope it's not going over the head. It's a lot in this to unpack that you want to take with you because it's a lot of good information to self-examine. This is good to be able to self-examine this way because you can ask yourself, it may not be the woman, but what has power over me? What pulls me away? What'll make me just like him? Right? Because the Most High given me the opportunity to not be him, so that's why I'm reading this history. So I'm finding out the character traits, character flaws that he had. And this is one of them. Read.
1 Esdras chapter 4, verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women.
And he ran out his wit for a woman. God ain't in his thoughts. So he ran out his wit. What makes us witty? The Father. What makes us sharp and aware? Right? So he casted off his wit for a woman. He casted off his wits for inordinate affection. Right? A desire. So you gotta ask yourself, am I gonna let my pride cast off my wits? Because in this situation, he's dealing with a woman, but you gotta ask yourself, what actually would make me cast off my wits? What is the thing right now that I'm like, no, I can't let that go just yet? The sin that you actually still love. Right? You ain't verbalizing it. You're like, oh, maybe words like, I believe in God. I was shocked. But on the low, you're doing something sinful. Right? What's that sin that you don't want to let go? Right? What's that mentality you don't want to let go of that got you running out your wits? Because in this instance, it's talking about a woman, but apply it to yourself is what I'm saying. Right? Don't just look at the story. Look at what the lessons you can gain from it. So many that have run off their wits for women and do what?
And become servants for their sakes.
And we see this will happen to this man. He wasn't getting taught. He didn't get the conversation on what type of woman to choose. He didn't get that conversation. Right? He wasn't getting those type of talks. His father wasn't nurturing him. Right? His father was so far gone, and now he's far gone. And he don't know how to discern what type of woman to get. Right? He probably was examining her looks. Her looks and her tone of voice. Right? Her posture. Her odor. Right? That's why what he was paying attention to, he wasn't paying attention to like where her spirit was. Her mentality. Are you gonna cast off your God for my God? He didn't even get that. He just ran out his wisdom. He became a servant for her sake. And we're gonna see how that affected the nation and himself. Read.
Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women.
And you're gonna see that happen. All three of those happened to him. He perished because he literally died. He erred because he was what? He hardly knew he guessed all right. Right? He was guessing. His decision making was off. It was based off of him. And then he sinned in doing so. And he taught men, other women, other men, other children to sin the same way. Why? Because of his pleasure, which was a woman. You see that? Jump to verse 20.
Verse 20. A man leaveth his own father that brought him up.
But now he ain't got no standards. And this scripture is literally talking about a man literally leaving. But in this sense, he's in his home country. But he's leaving the what? The heritage, the customs, the laws. He's not acknowledging those things. But this is what we do when we not fixing ourselves. When we're not working on ourselves. We teach our kids to love the American way. Right? They're addicted to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Right? And you have all they're picking up all these vices that you have. Because why? You forsaken your God, your true power, the Most High. For what? Your pleasure, your desire. It might just be you want to sleep all day. You just want to sleep and watch TV all day. It might just be that. Right? And you're not investing in your children. All your days just wasted away You didn't get to teach your son about discipline. You didn't get to teach your son about honoring the father, right? You didn't get to teach your son about doing his chores. You didn't get to teach nothing. Your daughter, right? Because the Most High said when you rise up, you're supposed to teach him, right? When you're walking by the way, when you sit down, and right when you're about to lie down, you're talking to your children about the Father, so that you can instill in them the fear of the Lord. But he ain't thinking about that. He's thinking about his woman, right? Brothers and sisters ain't thinking about how can I be a more of a help in the body. I'm thinking about how can I get this sleep? How can I get this money? I'm trying to get this chick. I'm trying to get this dude, right? Instead of trying to figure out how can I please the Father. Nobody's thinking about those things. But you got to look at those things because it matters. It's important. Read on.
And his own country.
So now you forget about your people. You don't care about your people no more. You care about you. So what was happening? He was letting this woman do what? Murder the prophets. Right? Set up groves. Because that's what it says in 1 Kings. Read the 1 Kings real quick.
1 Kings chapter 16, verse 32.
Mm-hmm.
And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal.
Who's he doing it for? His woman. Right? He's so far gone. Now he's just giving himself to his woman. But you got to see. Remember the title, right? The proving process. The mind of a king. Well, we see in the mind of a wicked king. Right? We see in the mind of somebody that's failing the proving process of the Most High. Right? Because we're all aspiring kings. We're a royal nation. We're a royal priesthood. And we're supposed to be aspiring for this righteousness. You're a royal princess. So you're supposed to be aspiring for this standard. But this man is doing what? He ain't having no respect to the Most High's ways. He's setting up rearing altars. What else?
Which he had built in Samaria. And Ahab made
in
a grove.
Israel. He built this in Israel. Go ahead.
And Ahab made a grove.
That's a statue, I think, right? Let me double check that one. The grove. Got the grove. But I know it's dealing with a statue of some sort. A grove. Yeah, a wooden image or a pillar representing Asherah, a sensual Canaanitish goddess. So he got them. He set up a pillar, a stone, of wood, right, for Ashtaroth. So he's making a statue out of Ashtaroth in commemoration to her. Remember, the Zidonians are Hamites, so this is a Canaanitish thing. So he's doing this to please this woman. It's crazy. But you gotta see how far gone your mind gotta be, right? But it starts somewhere though. You don't just go there all the way. It's a step-by-step process. It's a step-by-step process. So what are you giving yourself day by day? What are you feeding yourself day by day that can affect you and destroy you, right? And affect you, destroy your children, your nation. And you gotta see that. The Most High is proving you in this moment to see if you're worthy to ascend to the throne. He's proving us in these moments to see if we're worthy to be heirs, right? Rule with Christ, be in the kingdom, or get that judgment to be with the 2/3, right? Because we should be seeing it. You had your hand up? Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
It reminded me of this show on Netflix. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a couple, like a real life couple, traveling the world to like different countries, and the man was trying to convince her to like marry him and like have his baby and stuff like that. So they was going, this is like real people. They was going to different countries, like having weddings, quote unquote weddings, in that country's like way of marriage.
Oh, that
Different
custom.
gods, different customs. So they was traveling the world, worshiping all these different gods, so she would like him and have his baby. And it was this one African country, I don't know which one. The lady is in the tent with all these women, they're like crawling on the floor, like screaming and hollering to call their fertility gods so she could get pregnant. She and they're about to pass out. This white lady, white man.
Right.
And he's sneaking her snacks and stuff underneath the tent. She don't pass out, and he's not supposed to be nowhere near her. It just reminded me of that. Like he's doing all this crazy stuff just to get her to like him. And she didn't end up marrying him.
Right.
But
Dang.
they traveled to all these different countries, worshiping all these different gods.
So he defiled himself and didn't even get what he was chasing after. Yeah, that's crazy. That's in everything. We're using the woman example with this situation, but that's what he does. That's what a man will do with just anything, right? Money, for fame, notoriety, right? A job. You will sell your soul for naught. Like you say in Isaiah, right? You sell Israel has sold the soul for nothing, right? For something vain. Somebody that's leading you to just worship other gods and cause you to what? Forget about your own people, your own countrymen, your father's house. You forget about your father because you're chasing after a woman. And you see that in the neighborhood all day. No, she good, right? I was talking to this older Jake, and he was talking about how he was telling his son, "Hey, don't mess with that white girl. Don't do it. She might be good with you, but her family. And who do you think she's gonna choose? You or her family? And come to find out, she chose her family. And then now his son's dealing with what? He's dealing with child support. They don't want him to. She don't want to. And she don't want him to see the kid. Yeah, but all he had to do was listen to his father. All he had to do was listen to his father. He'd have been good, but because he was running out his wits for that woman, now he got into some issues. Now he got a kid with somebody that don't love him, that didn't really truly love him, right? And the family that really didn't even accept him. So now he got all his issues, and why? Because he ran out his wits for him. And now he what? He put his family to shame. His dad like, if he'd just listened, he'd have been in this situation. His dad gave him the heads up. Now we know in this sense, honorably, he wasn't giving Ahab a heads up. But everybody here, we getting heads up. At this point, everybody got a heads up. Now, especially with all the classes we go through, the different types of them, you get the heads up. So you have the ability to avoid falling into the pit. You see that? So you can drop that. Finish where you're at.
And cleaveth unto his wife.
Right. And you cleave unto your wife more than you go to the father. Go to verse 21.
Verse 21. He sticketh not to spend his life with his wife.
And that he sticketh, that means he don't hesitate. He's so far gone in his mind that he don't even hesitate. You don't even hesitate to be like, okay, hey, you don't mind setting up an altar for Baal, right? You don't mind if we just for the kids, put a Christmas tree, just for the kids. That's basically the essence of what's going on. Just put a Christmas tree, just for the kids, not for me. I don't believe in it. You don't believe in it, but just for the kids. You don't want the kids to feel bad, do you? But then you will bow down to that just because you're trying to please that person, right? But if the leader's bowing down to that, what you think the rest of the people gonna do? They're gonna use the leader as an excuse, right? People gonna use the leader as the excuse as to why they commit sin, why they're not committing. That's exactly what they're gonna try to do. But now is the Most High gonna accept that? No. But the leader should be trying to strive to be the best example of strength to show somebody how to push forward. You see that? Read on.
And remembereth neither father nor mother nor country.
Yeah. Now you forgot your whole world. What does that look like in modern day? What does Jake always want to do? He always want to go somewhere else, deal with other women of another nation, and then he follow their customs. And then their kids now, when we run into their kids in the mall, their kids like, oh, I'm Japanese. You clearly dark skinned. Right? I'm Filipino. You definitely look like Jake. Right? I'm Spaniard. Right? We run with these thoughts because now you're teaching everybody to sin. And you're not teaching nobody to care about the Father. And that's destruction. But that's what wicked kingdom do. That's how we end up in slavery time and time again. Because the leaders were bad, the priests were bad, right? The officers were bad. And then what did it trigger down? The people being bad. Right? And we know we always had that remnant, but the mass majority was what? Given to sin. It was always just a remnant. But go to, this is going to be the last one. Ecclesiasticus 27:3.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 27, verse 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Most High.
And that's what we're figuring out. You got to hold yourself diligently in the fear of the Most High. You got to hold yourself diligently. And if you don't, you're not going to be acknowledging, you're not going to be aware to acknowledge the Most High in all your thoughts, in all your deeds, and all your doings. And you're not going to make your family commit. You're not going to have your family commit to the Father. You're not going to commit to the Father. Because you're being unaware, you're not being diligent. What's going to happen if so? Because we've seen the results. We just read this man's history. Go ahead.
His house shall soon be overthrown.
Your house is going to be overthrown. It's going to fall. So just like this king's house is falling, your house is going to fall. If you don't commit to the Most High. Right? And I know we can get to, I wanted to go to the story, but I know it's 9:04. But y'all can write it down. You can read 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 22. Then 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 25, and then 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 26. You can read the whole chapter if you want to just see the whole thing. But that'll show you where he got destroyed. He ended up being destroyed. Where his house ended up being overthrown. Because the Most High ended up destroying his whole family. Right? He definitely murdered, killed Jezebel. Right? But it was all slew. And you can read it also in 2 Kings chapter 10. And put 10 and 11. But you can read that whole chapter too. It'll tell you how Most High had Jehu slew the house of Ahab. Right? The great men, the kinsfolks, the priests, he left nothing remaining. Because he fell off. So if you're a leader, if you're in a leadership position, as a brother, right, in your house, as a leader, what's dealing with the sisters and the children, right, or inspiring, well, look at what this man that he was doing wrong. Look at this man that was doing wrong, right, and say to yourself, I don't want to be that character, right, and do the things necessary to change to evade from being that character. You see that? So, yeah, that's the class. I mean, that is the class for the night. I mean, did y'all have any questions on the class? A thought, a concern that you wanted to share about it? Something that hit your spirit? You look like you got something.
Not really. Just the essence of the class. Just seeing what things what attributes you may have, negative that you may have, that may affect the people around you, in your household, and understanding that we are leaders,
right?
And that we are being looked at in some shape or form. So our example has to be on 10.
Right. Yeah. Right. And then from the sister's perspective, anybody? From the sister, because I mean, Jezebel was doing a whole lot of wrong, right? And she had a whole lot of bad character traits. Going once, going twice. 2 hands, 3 hands. Oh, go ahead, Miguel. Yeah.
As far as the motherly aspect of it, correcting yourself, so he'll have an example of what to choose in a woman. Like, so he don't pick a woman that's going to tick off like that.
Right.
That's what he sees from you. Or just correcting yourself so you can be that righteous woman to your husband, future husband, brother, whatever. Just getting yourself together would be an example.
Yeah, getting yourself together. Yeah. But that's the class for tonight. So everybody, Shabbat Shalom online. Shabbat Shalom.
Chilling up in the kingdom, chilling with Yahweh Shah and all the brothers and the sisters, cooling out, having fun, drinking yayin with Yahweh Shah up in the kingdom. Yeah. Who are we? Israel. That who are we? Israel. Can't be you. Israel. Who's the power? Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah's the power.